And we are live. I'm here visibly with Mr. Jeremy, not Justin Long, and Flip is here, but definitely just saw a nipple for a second.
I was
That
hoping
was
for a lot
amazing.
more than that.
Flip is sick. Flip has
I
been
have
sick
COVID.
for a bit. Let's get into that. How's it been for you?
So I went to jiu-jitsu Saturday morning, and afterwards my body was sore, and I didn't feel good because I only got like 3 hours of sleep. So I was like, I don't feel good because I didn't sleep much. And then as the day progressed, I was like, man, I'm getting a fever.
Right.
Again, I just thought because I didn't sleep the last couple of days. And then I went home, took 2 tests, both came back positive, and then my fever spiked, went like really high. I woke up the next day with shakes, like I was shaking violently, like I couldn't even hold my phone. I was shaking so bad. So I went and took a hot shower. I was in there for like probably an hour,
Jeez.
just trying to like warm up. My fever almost got to 104. It was like 103.8 or something. The doctor prescribed me Paxlovid. I don't know if you guys have heard of Paxlovid. Jeremy, have you heard of Paxlovid?
No.
It's a new COVID treatment. It's 2 different medications. It's an antiviral. Um, whenever you tell someone you're taking medicine for COVID, they look at you kind of crazy. So I'm going to start telling people I've just been taking ivermectin. No, but it's an actual treatment for COVID. It lowered my fever. My fever hasn't spiked too high. It's gone up to like 100, 101, but right now it's like 97. So I'm good. But my daughter has a fever now. But she's taken 3 COVID tests and they're all negative. So maybe she just has the flu.
How recently did the fever start?
Today.
Well, there's an incubation period, so the test isn't going to be positive yet.
Well, fuck.
On that note, for those that don't recognize this whole format, this is also showing on the Disconnected channel tonight. Normally, this is only on the Discovering Cinema channel, but with Flip being sick, we wanted to make sure that it could have an audience no matter what. So I opened it up to everybody tonight. We'll see how it goes. On this show, we meet every other Tuesday and just hang out. We used to go long format and talk about the most random of things, but we've been trying to switch that up a little bit and be a little more confined lately. So we'll usually we'll talk about things that we've watched recently, maybe some pickups, and usually we'll do like a deep dive into one release that we've either really dove into lately or really just want to hype up to everybody, because there are so many that can pass us by that we just want to make sure that certain ones get the right light. So, Jeremy, what have you been watching lately?
Good question. Can Flip start?
Flip, have you been able to watch much while you've been sick?
I just today, so I did Talking Swords earlier, and Sean was talking about Seventh Curse, and he was hyping it up. So I was like, "Fuck!" So I went into the living room while my kid was sleeping, and I unhooked the Blu-ray player and hooked it up into the bedroom, and I watched Marshall Club and Seventh Curse. Seventh Curse is one of the best movies ever made. It's a lot of fun. It's pure fun. Other than that, I've been watching a lot of like 30 for 30 shit on ESPN.
Nice.
Just trying to keep myself busy. There's a new Tom Brady show called like I can't think of what it's called. Let me see. Man in the Arena, and that's pretty good so far. I've only seen like 3 episodes. Other than that, watched some boxing matches. That was awesome, and just try not to die.
That's a good mission.
That's really good.
Jeremy, got your letterboxed up, it looks like.
I'm happy it hasn't happened yet, Flip.
Thanks, buddy.
I have a lot that I didn't like lately, but let's focus on what I did like. I'll just start at the beginning of the month, since it's about halfway through the month. So at the
Yeah,
last.
the last time that we had this was July 5th.
Okay, great.
So close enough.
Well, July 1st, I saw Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which,
Nice.
although I liked the original video and obviously love both Jenny Slate and A24, I was unsure about it just because I was like, I'm not really sure how they can make this into a whole movie.
Right.
But boy, when I tell you I weeped openly in the theater at a Shell, that happened. So I really liked that one a lot.
Wow.
Then I was late to this bandwagon. This is his name pronounced Cooper Rafe? Is that how you pronounce his last name, Rafe?
I don't know this name at all.
Directed Shithouse and Cha Cha Real Smooth.
Oh, I've never seen either one.
He seems to have a pretty strong fan base. Those are his only 2 movies now, so that's why I say I might be late to the party, because it seems like he has a pretty strong, maybe cult following already. But Cha Cha Real Smooth just came out this year, so I decided to watch that, and that was a bit of a gut punch, as emotionally speaking, as well. A lot of movies that I cried at this month so far. Cha Cha Real Smooth then I went and watched Shithouse, which was his first movie back in 2020, and they have the same overall style to them, almost like it could be like a spiritual sequel.
Interesting.
For one another, because they're very similar in style. They both also star Cooper Rafe, who wrote and directed it. And in the first one, he's just going to college, and in Cha Cha Real Smooth, he's just graduated college. So it does almost seem like they're connected, even though it's not the same character names or anything like that. But they're both really kind of just raw look at just kind of the struggles of life, especially as a young person just entering the world.
Right.
And I really appreciate it. And relationships and doesn't really go the direction you're thinking it's going to go, and which I appreciated for both of them. And so I really liked both of those a lot. So Cooper Rafe now has a fan in me.
I don't think I'd ever even heard of Shithouse. That wasn't a wide release, was it?
I don't think so. I don't know who. Let's see.
And Cha Cha's getting seemingly fairly divisive reviews. There's
Cha 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 is more popular than Shithouse, I think, because Dakota Johnson's in it and it's on Apple TV.
Right.
So it's getting a little more widespread attention. Do you think it's getting divisive reviews?
Yeah, I at least some of the people that I tend to talk with, about half of them seem to think that it was just like cheesy crap and didn't need to exist, and then the other half are literally the opposite, saying like this is the experience and everybody needs to see this.
Yeah, I'm the latter. I'd be curious to question the folks that say it's cheesy, because I think it's actually quite honest and open.
Interesting.
And completely lacks cheesiness.
I have a question for you, Jeremy.
Sure, Flippy Flip.
How was The Gray Man?
I actually really liked The Gray Man too.
You're the only person I've seen like it.
I was gonna get there. Yeah, The Gray Man. My roommate and I went to the premiere, not this past Sunday, 2 days ago, but the Sunday before that, here in Los Angeles, and I really liked it. I mean, it's not like a movie where you're like, oh my god, my life has changed. Or not
like John Wick.
Like John Wick. Or, but it's a really solid action movie. Action on the level of John Wick, in my opinion. And it had a really good mixture. I really appreciate when action movies have like a really good mixture of like action and dark humor. Chris Evans in particular plays the villain, and you can tell he's just having an absolute blast with it, and it's a totally different role than what he normally plays, and I really like that about it. And he did a really great job. And also, I mean, him and Gosling just have a lot of banter back and forth that is actually really funny too. Yeah, I mean, it's not like a 5 out of 5, but I really liked it quite a bit.
How is Anna de Arms?
She's great. She's always great.
Anna de Arms.
and Billy Bob. Don't forget Billy Bob.
Billy Bob Thornton's in there?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck
like
about
her.
him. I want to know about Anna de Arms, man. Armis. Sorry. Is it Arms or Armis?
Armis. What about her? What do you want to know about her? She's great.
Does she get naked?
She does not get naked, Club.
She is always great. She's a genuinely really great actress.
She is. I really like her a lot. I don't think I've seen anything that I didn't like her in.
That movie with Keanu Reeves where she knocks on the door.
No, it's genuinely pretty decent. It gets
great.
Yeah, it gets shit on for no reason. That's a decent.
That's like my dream.
Then I'm jumping around because I'm jumping to the ones I really liked. So I watched, per Ryan's suggestion, and then I ended up supremely loving it, was Dinner in America.
Oh, nice.
A guilty pleasure of mine is any movie that, this wasn't like the main theme of it, like a movie like Begin Again or Sing Street, but any movie that has any inkling of like making music in it, and you're seeing the process, and God forbid an original song comes out of it, then I'm sold. And this has all that featured in it, as well as an awesome like coming of age kind of rebellion story as well, with a great great acting across the board. Two people I know, Pat Healy and Mary Lynn Rice Cub, played the parents, and I wasn't super familiar with the main star, either of the main stars, but now I follow both of them on Instagram because I love them so much.
That track they made together is so perfect too.
It's such a good song. I had it on repeat the other night. So a lot of I gave that one a 5 out of 5. I thought it was fantastic.
Awesome. That's so great to hear.
Then The Gray Man, which we talked about, and then I'm jumping over anything that's like less than a 4.
Tell you what, how about we do one more? I'm going to share one with Flip, and then we're going to go over some comments, and then we'll come back to the rest.
Here, I'll just tell you that I'll end it on this, and then we don't even have to come back. I went to Ryan knows this, and maybe Flip doesn't know yet, but I went to another all-nighter horror marathon at the New Beverly, which for anybody watching who doesn't know, they do them not every month, but fairly regular. Yeah, it seems like they used to only do them not on Halloween, but like in October for Halloween. Right. But now because like 2 months ago they had like a 90s Nightmares horror-a-thon, and so this one the theme was summer camp /a-thon, so they were all summer camp related, and they don't tell you what it's going to be until, first of all, it sells out in like 2 seconds. And anybody who's not in Los Angeles, the New Bev is a pretty small one-screen theater.
It's tiny.
And they don't tell you what it's going to be. The whole audience finds out together when it pops up on screen, each mystery title, and there was 4 of them this time. And so those ended up being, it was a fun night, actually. Sometimes, because they're a mystery, there's a couple duds in there. The 90s Nightmares Horror-a-thon had a couple. But this one actually was fun the whole way through. It was The Burning, and then they showed Friday the 13th Part 2, and then Sleepaway Camp Part 2, and then ended with Twisted Nightmare, which is the only one I hadn't seen, but it was absolutely hilarious in a not trying to be funny kind of way.
I really need to see Twisted Nightmare. Obviously, the other 3 are classics.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see them put Friday Night Part 2 up there, because that's one that really gets overlooked a lot. People are always number 1, 3, or 5, and then they'll jump to like the wild ones, Manhattan or Hell or something.
Yeah.
But it is so nice to see 2 get a little bit of attention.
Yeah, I liked it because I hadn't watched it in so long, and I wrote this in my Letterboxd review too, but I forgot. I mean, it's a great one. I agree. It's nice to see it get some love. I forgot how clumsy Jason was in the beginning.
Yes.
Because I'm going to address this in a second. There was seriously some bits in there that were like bordering Three Stooges level.
Right.
Like he was like going to stab her, and then the chair breaks from underneath him, and he like falls and rolls down the steps. And I'm like, is this supposed to be like slapsticky? Does it feel like? Whereas of course later he's very. Anyways,
Right.
yeah. Do you know this person?
He's a fan of the channel. He's been here quite often. By Ferd the Hobbit says, Jeremy, thanks for your honest Elvis review on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I appreciate you following and saying that. I'm assuming they're saying that because they also didn't really care for it and doesn't think.
I'm just confused as to why we're making biopics of pedophiles. Because Elvis is a pedophile.
Is he?
Yeah, he bought.
Because Lisa Marie was young.
She was severely young. Not just young, like 14.
And how old was he at the time?
In his 20s. Yeah.
Anyways.
I feel like that's another conversation. But the movie was okay, but I don't understand all the hype it's getting. That was my honest review, so I appreciate that. I feel like everybody's like raving about it and calling it like revolutionary, and I'm like, it's A, not really a great biopic, and B, it's typical Baz Luhrmann, which I can kind of take or leave depending on the movie, but sometimes it's a little too much his style, and especially at the beginning of the movie, it's like you almost get nauseous.
Right. The feeling I'm getting from everybody talking about it, and I still have not seen it, just to be clear, is it feels very much how like when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, is this is just this enchanting film and all that, when in all reality the lead gave like a decent performance of somebody that already existed, so it's kind of easy to not simple obviously, but it's easier to mimic somebody and give a commanding experience when they, you know, can just kind of look at film and be just like them. And really everything else in the film could be mediocre. If they did a great job, it's going to get hailed as wonderful.
Yeah, I get that. That's kind of yeah, I get that. Bohemian Rhapsody was also one of my least favorite biopics.
Right.
Did not like that movie at all.
It's super generic. It's literally like they put a Wikipedia article on the screen. Like there was like.
That's funny.
The best.
Good.
I think one of the best. Walk the Line is definitely up there as far as biopics. But Love and Mercy, I don't know if you guys seen that one. The one about Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys.
Oh, that one I was supposed to watch. Yeah, I've not seen that yet.
Yeah, Paul Dano and John Cusack played Brian Wilson at different stages of his life. It's, two fantastic actors, and it's a really well done biopic, in my opinion.
So I'm going to share one, but before I do, I was going to get to the comments after this, but I want to shout out Nathan's here. What's going on, Nathan? Nathan is coming up from Springfield on Friday, and we are going to go Barnes and Noble hopping together.
Whoa.
Oh, wait, Ryan, can I say one thing?
Sure.
You said Nathan, and made me think of Nathan For You.
Oh, nice. His new show just came out on HBO.
He has a new show. Me and some friends on Discord watched it together last night, the first episode. It's so ridiculous, and I forgot how far he goes in on his bits. So for those of you who don't know, this show is like someone has like an issue that they want to like resolve. Like the first episode's about a guy who's really into trivia, and he joined a trivia group like 12 years ago, and he lied to them and said he had a master's degree when really he only had a bachelor's degree. so Nathan goes to interview him, and and then he lets it be known. He goes, "Yeah, you remember last week you thought there was a gas leak in your house and people came out to fix it?" He goes, "No, it was my team photographing your house, and we made an exact replica of your house, and I hired an actor and we went through every single version of how how each conversation could happen." And he recreated the conversations that he was practicing with the fake version of this guy. I just gotta say that show was hilarious. I was laughing hysterically.
That guy is a genius. He's
Nathan
creative.
Fielder.
Yeah. I haven't gotten to watch that first episode yet, but I'm excited to.
If you're out there and have not watched Nathan For You yet, it is something you should absolutely jump on. It is like watching the Scott's Tots episode of The Office on repeat, and it just keeps getting worse.
Just Google dumb Starbucks episode. That's just so
My
awesome.
favorite episode is that Best Buy episode with the television.
And the alligator.
Where they sell the television for $1, but you have to have a dress code, and then you go to the tiny door and there's an alligator.
Yeah. Okay. So to honor Flip getting sick, I wanted to watch one that I could make him feel excited about, and we can discuss.
Is it happening? Did you watch?
No, on purpose. I wanted to make you feel that tension of is it happening?
You motherfucker.
I did not watch Lone Wolf and Cub 2 Electric Boogaloo, but I did watch Perfect Blue.
Oh, God, that's a great movie. That's a perfect movie.
That is a great movie.
I watched this the other night. This is the first time I've ever watched an anime.
What?
Ever in my life.
No Studio Ghibli, nothing.
No Ghibli. I've never watched any Pokemon episode, no Digimon. I've watched technically like out of the side of my eye, I guess. I kind of watched like the first 2 episodes of Castlevania and absolutely hated it.
Well, that's an American cartoon. That doesn't count.
Perfect Blue, though, is first off, the animation, it's going to be something I have to get used to. I did not love it for sure. It's not something I grew up on. However,
I wish I could see Flip's face.
the story was goddamn incredible. And the moment that and I don't know who hasn't seen it, but whoever has, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But when the drama starts happening, this takes such a dramatic turn that it is more tense than a lot of modern horror films, and it works on pretty much every level. The setting is great. The characters are great. You absolutely care for them. The voice acting is really well done for sure. The storyline, it is not necessarily it's fairly unique considering the setting that they're in, but
especially the time it came out. It came out in the 90s.
Right. Yeah, this is like 25 years old now. So yeah, it was a very, very good movie.
I love that movie. That's the movie that kind of converted Taylor into thinking anime was art. And B4 is right. Said Toshi Kon, rest in peace, is a master. So if you like that, I would suggest go look at some more of his work because he's fucking amazing. But I'm glad that you liked it. That is a great movie. Great first anime.
I do have plans to watch more.
That was a great first anime. I agree. I'm not as into anime as Flip, but I like my fair share of it. That was one of my first as well because I remember it came up. I kind of get it, but it came up when I was like, this was many years ago, and I was searching movies similar to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, since that's my favorite movie of all time.
Yep.
And this came up as a recommendation. It was one of my first animes at the time.
If you want more from that same director, I would recommend Paprika, Millennium Actress, and Tokyo Godfather. And if you wanted a show, I would recommend Paranoia Agent.
Paranoia Agent's great. I have that. I have a steelbook of that.
Speaking of Eternal Sunshine, one of the gentlemen in the chat, John Peters, we were talking today, and since Flip has not finished it that I know of yet, but I know Jeremy also loved it. John and I were talking about how Eternal Sunshine kind of gave the same feelings that he got out of Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I really didn't get that the first time, but thinking back on it, it really works. And it's, I think, one of the reasons like you and I both love Eternal Sunshine. We both loved Everything Everywhere, and it worked.
It's for sure, that feeling is for sure the reason that Eternal Sunshine is my favorite movie of all time, and Everything Everywhere shot up to my top 5 list after 1 or 2 viewings of it, which I've now seen like 7 times.
Jeez,
there's got to be that feeling there for that to happen. You know what I mean? So that's undeniable.
We'll get into some more recent watches in just a moment. Let me get through some of these. It's already 25 minutes in. I'm not going to say hi to everybody. Hello, we love that you're here. Jeff wanted to share. He had bad shakes when he had COVID as well, but then right after, Max said, when I had COVID, it was just a 2-week paid work vacation, basically. Sardis watched the video I posted yesterday with my boys. Did you see that video yet, Flip?
Not yet, no.
My oldest begged me to do a Hot Ones challenge, and he went, dude, he went all the way through the last dab, and he's 7, and he was like, "We got to do some more." Man, that kid was crazy.
Does that kid got a stomach made of steel?
He was fine after, like, at the end of the video, he was like shoveling water into his mouth, but after like 3 minutes, he was fine. Sardis also just watched Perdita Durango and said it's going to be a fave for him. That is amazing. I love to hear that.
That's a great movie. That's one that Ryan convinced me to pick up. The little buy and sell shop here in Los Angeles that I frequent in the Valley by me, CD Trader, had the Severin Blu-ray one day, and Ryan's like, "You got to get that one."
It's such a perfect release.
I watched it and I liked it a lot.
If Brian is still here, he said, I need context. What's up with Flip? Yes, Flip does have the Rona, but also Brian's here. So, Brian, I'm wearing your shirt. Thank you. Ice wanted to see, have I checked out Mad God yet? I have not. Jeremy, you did, though, right?
Oh, I saw it at Beyond Fest last year.
Yep.
This one in Black Phone took forever to finally come out. Usually anything at Beyond Fest comes out like in about 2 or 3 months, maybe after.
I want to know why Black Phone took so long, because for it to be in the can for so long, you would have thought that they would have made that a like October release.
Yeah, it's strange. It's really strange. I was surprised too. Mad God is a little more understandable because it's obviously a severe indie release, but I mean, Phil Tippett's been working on that for decades.
Right.
I love Mad God. I thought it was phenomenal, and to hear him talk about it in a Q&A after the screening during the Beyond Fest made me love it even more. The guy is
awesome.
A genius, and he's so passionate about what he does, and he's so passionate about this project.
It is on my list, and we almost watched it on my Patreon last month. We had everybody vote on a different title. And speaking of that, we're doing our next watch-along this coming Sunday. So if you're interested, make sure you get in there so that you can vote before Sunday. Voting ends Saturday night. Another one that Jeremy loved, Dustin says, I watched After Yang today. It was an emotional journey.
Not quite as good as Columbus, Kogonada's first film, which is another gut punch of a movie. I mean, I remember when I first watched that movie and I needed just like a couple an hour to myself to process. But After Yang is in the same theme and zone for sure, and very emotional journey. I really liked After Yang a lot.
John is taking his kids to see Marcel this weekend. It finally is coming to Omaha, up where he is in the theaters.
Bring some tissues.
Terry just went to see Fire of Love over the weekend. Saw the trailer again before the stream. It reminded how much I enjoyed the doc. Have you seen Fire of Love, Jeremy?
I have not seen that one.
I've not either.
That's not the Firefest one.
That would be a terrible title for that.
Which one's Fire of Love? It's a documentary?
I don't remember the subject of it. Let me see. It's probably down lower in the chat now that I'm saying this. Fire of Love documentary from 2022, and it is husband and wife. Oh, it's the volcano husband and wife, Maurice.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I did see. Yeah. I saw a preview for it.
That preview looked great,
actually. Yeah, that does look good. I'll check that one out.
Sardis watched Final Flesh from AGFA, and it looked like performance art. Final Flesh is definitely performance art. The Sharam Mokri set, I think that's how you say it, was an incredible experience. Great interview. I really need to get started on that one. I just finally got my June partner label stuff. I just opened up for my Patreons last Thursday, because it got here last Tuesday. It was so late this time. It's crazy. Jeff wants to know, Jeremy, is the Gray Man as slick as John Wick?
Not slick. Yeah, John Wick is kind of an action, and I think we can all agree it's kind of like an action movie all unto itself in a sense, and does have a very particular quality that makes specifically the first one, but really that whole franchise just like chef's kiss. But in terms of kind of non-stop action, kind of gripping the edge of your seat, it's Gray Man's close to it. I was very edge of my seat the whole time, and like I said earlier, that mixed with the I thought it was great writing in my opinion, and that mixed with the dark humor aspect of it made me really enjoy it pretty thoroughly.
You got a lot of people that agreed with you on Love and Mercy being the rare biopic that worked. And
Okay.
Nathan wanted to throw out that Control is supposed to be good for a biopic. And then Flip was talking about Elvis. Elvira, who knew Elvis, thought that the movie was fairly accurate.
Well, my comments weren't really on its accuracy and more so the filmmaking.
Right.
And the pacing of the movie is what the two big things I had a problem with.
Pioneers also said, check out 24-Hour Party People, centered around Factory Records founder Tony Wilson. That sounds right up my alley. Any word on the Shaw Brothers set number 2? From what I have heard behind the scenes, Flip can tell me if I'm wrong, I'm hearing, well, first of all, that was supposed to come out in like June. Obviously, it did not. At this point, the earliest it could come out is October or November. I actually see this being another December release from Arrow.
Which blows my mind because they have, Ryan knows, but there's a huge other box set.
Right.
That's pretty fucking big. It's a 4K box set. And it seems like, and it's martial arts related. So it does
not Shaw Brothers, though.
Not Shaw. So it does seem kind of counterproductive to release both of those back to back.
And then on top of that, we've got the Eureka police story coming out, 4K box set, and 88 Films putting out at least the third one here. 88 Films needs to get it together with how they announce stuff, because they do some weird things. But
we talked about this last year.
Yeah, it's likely that 88 Films is putting out just part 3 because Criterion still has part 1 and 2 in the US. But then I would not be surprised if Criterion turned around and released part 1 and 2 on 4K.
Oh, you guys want to hear martial arts news? That's pretty exciting.
Sure.
So the Joseph Quo set, 2 of his most notable movies were missing. One of them was Mystery of Chess Boxing. And someone on the forums said, fuck it, I'm just going to cave in and buy the Kung Fu Robber Blu-ray. And someone that is affiliated with Eureka said, please don't. Please be patient. So
interesting.
Very cool.
Love that insider information. Speaking of some new releases from certain boutique labels, I don't know how much love it's getting really, but I'm pretty stoked that Imprint's putting out Barfly because it's such a fucking phenomenal film, and it's only ever been on DVD and it's been out of print. I have one, but it's been out of print for like ever.
And they gave it some massive love too. I mean, you got a big box coming, 2 different discs, 5-hour documentary or whatever.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah. Let's see. By First says, whenever I hear Perfect Blue, I get goosebumps. That makes sense. And it says Black Swan tub scene was borrowed from Perfect Blue. I would honestly argue that almost most of Black Swan was borrowed from Perfect Blue.
It's very similar.
Yeah. Nathan says that face of Flip will haunt my dreams tonight.
It'll haunt my fantasies.
Barry says, whoa, not even Akira or Akira, depending on who you are. So many people say that differently.
It's Akira.
I've never seen Akira. Not at all. I've heard so many great things, and I almost got that 4K, and then everybody hated the 4K. So I got to get some release of it. Let's see. I definitely need to watch Tokyo Godfathers during December, I guess. And let's see. I think that's it. Let's
wait. Didn't I get you anime for Christmas?
Maybe.
And you still haven't watched those yet?
Of course not.
When does Ryan have time for that? He didn't even get through a movie with me. Every movie we saw when he was out here visiting, he fell asleep during.
That is not true.
Is that true?
Not
at all, Jeremy?
No.
You fell asleep during Crimes of the Future. You fell asleep during
Spontaneous. That's it.
What else did we see? I don't even remember.
A double feature of John Waters, which, by the way, my other release that I was going to talk about is Pink Flamingos.
Hold on, I blocked that night out because that's when I got into my car accident.
Yep.
That's when you got assaulted by a stray cart.
Yeah, and then my car was in the shop for a fucking month. So sorry, I blocked that night out, Ryan.
I blocked it out too because of the plane the next morning. Anyways, I watched Pink Flamingos again. And this is the first time I've seen it in a long time. And man, did it go down for me. Yeah, this is yeah, not top tier John Waters for me. Especially out, and it could just be peppered a little bit by that double feature because oh my god, did Polyester and Serial Mom really, really spoil me? It was
More
so nice
Polyester, but
to see those in 35 millimeter.
Yeah,
Pink
that was a
Flamingos
great
obviously is a very specific flavor of movie. He says, ironically, with that word flavor, it is exploitive in every sense of the word. It's John Waters through and through, and that's a great thing. I think I just like a little more mature John Waters, or maybe a little more realized, perhaps, because Polyester is certainly not much more mature than Pink Flamingos, but it still may be his best film. And
Female Trouble is my favorite still.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah,
I had somebody, I think it was
Or
last
Crybaby.
week. Oh, Crybaby is so good.
Yeah,
I have never seen Pecker, and I'm dying to see it. And so many, like all of his modern stuff, we don't have any good releases of his
I
stuff.
know, it's very frustrating. That's actually another fun thing about the new Bev is they always put the themed trailers before, also in
Yep.
35 millimeter. So we got to see all these old, super old, fun trailers for John
Yep.
Waters movies before each of the two films in that double feature.
I know that you were not present at the last watch along, but I'll also throw out that I took the idea from the new Bev, and when they played the short beforehand that you and I both loved.
Hilarious. You found it,
it
right?
wa-
Or did I send
I
it to you?
Yes, so I went on that channel and they had about 50 other shorts. I played one of them before our watch along last month, so I'm probably going to do the same this time.
Oh, that's fantastic. That thing was a riot.
Yeah, it was so damn funny.
Um,
Go ahead.
Speaking of Criterion, I'll be, not that anybody cares, I'll be doing my second and final Criterion haul of the sale tonight, which is why I got to bounce in like half an hour.
What else have you picked up this month already?
What else have I got this month? Oh.
From the Criterion set.
Oh, just from Criterion? I got the Marvin Van Peebles box set. I got Worst Person in the World. So good. I'm so stoked.
I have the trilogy from overseas pre-ordered with that one.
Oh, I did not know anything about that. There's a trilogy from the same director?
Same director, I believe, yeah.
Trilogy of what?
From the same director of The Worst Person in the World.
That being the third part of the trilogy, I guess?
Yes.
A trilogy meaning like not actually tied into
not connected, correct.
Just kind of like the Cornetto trilogy.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can pull it up and send you a link.
Criterion's had a killer fucking year this year, actually.
They actually have. I'm really impressed.
The last few months have just been insane.
I got, what else did I get that day? I only got like 3 or 4. There was those two. I'm not sure. I can't remember now for some reason. But the two that I really want to get tonight is Drive My Car and Okja. But I'll probably also get like, probably also pick up, what's that new, I can't think of the title. The new one that they just came out with Denzel Washington.
Devil in a Blue Dress.
Yeah. I'll probably pick that up as well. I was considering.
And Raging Bull.
Oh, I'll get Raging Bull tonight as well. I don't know why I couldn't think of this a second ago because you just showed it, but Pink Flamingos was one of the ones I picked up during the first haul too. So Pink Flamingos, Worst Person in the World, Marvin Van Peebles. That might have been the only 3 actually.
I just put the link for that the trilogy in the chat, and I sent it to you. It's called the Oslo Trilogy, 3 films by Joachim Trier, and it's got Reprise from 2006, Oslo August 31st from 2011, and The Worst Person in the World from 2021.
I'll definitely
and that is coming from Mubi in the UK, and it is scheduled to release in September.
Well, I have another Diabolic order I have to place now because I want to get that and the Barfly. They just put Barfly up on
up for pre-order.
So do that, but thank you for. I'm still happy I got the Criterion Worst Person in the World, but I'll still get that box set for sure.
Yeah. A lot of the movie stuff is very I hate use the word bare bones because it makes it sound bad, but there's not a lot of features. So if that's your bag, Mubi's usually not the way to go.
Well, my thing would be, is there another place to get those other 2 films of his? I don't know.
It's a great question.
Aside from that set, so that would be enough to persuade me to get it, even with it being.
By verse says, Flip, please review The Deer King.
I almost saw that last night. Did you see it, Flip?
No. Anime.
I'm excited for it.
Interesting.
I almost saw it last night because my friend Zach and I went to go see Gone in the Night, that new indie Winona Ryder flick, which I enjoyed overall. Didn't thoroughly enjoy, but I feel like it's worth a watch. And then I almost stuck around and saw Deer King. I almost did a double feature, but I didn't.
Max says the Halloween Ends trailer just dropped. Some sweet Jamie Lee versus Michael action.
Oh damn!
Now I have to pretend that I'm not going to watch it and watch it 12 times. Damn it!
Wait, there's a trailer for the new one already?
What do you mean already? It's coming out in like 90 days.
Wait, there's another Halloween movie already?
Yes, they announced this like 3 years ago
for this trilogy.
Holy shit!
2018, 2021, and 2022.
Well, they were supposed to be earlier, but they got pushed. Right. This last one got pushed because of the pandemic. Otherwise, we would have already had the final.
They both got delayed by 1 year.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Sardis says, I watched Kinski and Vampire in Venice. It's not a great movie. No pun intended. It sucked. However, the doc is interesting. Agreed. Flix at Dawn loved Perdita Durango and was just watching Day of the Beast. Day of the Beast is surprisingly fantastic and probably his most accessible movie.
I like that one too. That's also on Severin, right? I think.
Correct. That was their first 2 4Ks, Perdita Durango and Day of the Beast.
I think I got those at the same time at CD. Are people just now want? That's the second person to bring up Perdita Durango.
Sardis brought it up, and it was because I've been recommending it for the last year and a half. And then when we talked about it, somebody else commented on it.
Oh.
Nathan is heading out, says, I'm in the middle of Wild Things. First time watching, I want to squeeze it in before bed. And damn it, now Flip talks about chess boxing.
Quick side note, when I was looking at my Letterboxd to give what I watched that I really liked this month so far, I noticed you gave The Rental a 3 recently. 3 stars.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was today.
I saw that on my homepage, and it's can't possibly be anything more than a 1.5.
I think it might have been a 3 because I watched it while I was working, so I only had to listen to some of it.
Okay. Yeah, because the darkness of it all is one of the major downsides.
Did you see what I wrote about it? I said this is a great short film. Wait, that was 82 minutes? God, that was awful.
Is that what you wrote? You gave it 3.
Because
average.
I really wanted to give it about a 1.5, but that last 20 minutes was pretty effective.
I saw that during the thick of the pandemic when all we had to watch new movies was the drive-in. And me and my buddy Zach went in. And you think that movie's dark when you're watching it at home on a TV? Try watching it on a drive-in screen.
On a drive-in with 25-year-old bulbs.
Shit.
Yeah.
And I just hated it. I thought it was dumb and cliche. Every possible moment of it was cliche. It's like fucking Dave Franco, who should stick to acting, was just like, let me just put all these horror movies I like into a blender and then spit out this super cliche script.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. Let's see. I wanted to touch on, Jeff says, Ryan watches movies like my grandma's. What happened? I'm not sleeping. My trip to LA was surprisingly hectic and very depleting of time, but I wanted to share. We've talked on here many times about how little I'm able to actually watch. And just since the last time that Flip and I did a video together, this is all of my Letterboxd. I've been watching a lot of stuff in 2 weeks. So I'm doing better. And I stayed awake for every single one.
He tries to incapacitate his son with hot sauce. And when that doesn't work, it's just like, all right, well, I guess you're going to have to go play with Legos while I watch these movies.
Oh, darn. Now I can watch a rated R movie. Let's see. Anything else that you've watched recently you want to throw out there, Jeremy?
I did I guess the last thing I'll say is I did a Nick Cage double feature also at the New Bev. That was just on Sunday. And it was 2 movies that were handpicked by Cage himself, because they asked him, if we were going to do a double feature, which 2 would you watch? Case. So they were two underrated ones that are so good. It was Bringing Out the Dead and Red Rock West, and so that was a lot of fun to see
Red-
both of those in 35.
Red Rock West, by the way, getting its first Blu-ray release next month
Yeah.
overseas.
Thank God.
I don't understand how we do not have one
I don't
over
either.
here.
It's one of his best performances. It's great. I love that movie. So
Unironically, Cage is one of the best actors that we've had in the last 30 years.
So good. Real quick, I'll just go down a few titles. I'm not going to go in any depth whatsoever. These are movies that I really did not like at all this month. Spiderhead, Man from Toronto, The Princess, Minions: Rise of Gru.
You didn't like the fucking Minions, dude?
Big Bug, where the crawdads sing, The Sky is Everywhere. There's a handful of ones that, if you have similar taste to me, I would avoid. But feel free to watch and form your own opinion.
I love the Minions movie.
There's too many of them now. It's too much.
I think we're at 5 now, and there's already a 6th one announced.
Lightyear, I did a double feature with Lightyear and Minions the one weekend day, whatever that was. And Lightyear I actually kind of enjoyed more than I thought. I didn't love it, but I thought it was all right. And but to no one's surprise, it would have been absolutely terrible if it wasn't for that robot cat character. It obviously made, if they took that out, it would have easily been a 1 star instead of a 3-star for me.
Okay, I'll go next. Since we last met on the 5th, and this is where it gets super shocking, is I hardly ever get a chance to go to the theater. In the last 2 weeks, I've gone 3 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot for me. And one I wanted to talk about, I don't think Flip's seen it yet, so I'm not trying to make you feel left out. But before Jeremy has to jet, Black Phone. I finally saw it. You saw it last year, and I'm curious, what are your overall thoughts? I don't remember what you said on it.
I didn't love it. I went in, granted, with fairly high expectations because I'm a big fan of Sinister, and this was the same team behind that. So I was like pretty stoked about it. I'm like, OMG, these guys are together again, and I love Ethan Hawke. But I was fairly disappointed. I didn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination, but this is another one that's kind of like Elvis, where people are like raving about it now, and they're like, "Oh, so scary, best horror movie," and whatever. And I'm like, it's pretty bare bones. It's all right, but it's a fairly bare bones horror movie that I feel like has a couple plot holes and loose ends that aren't even tied up. I don't know. I was a little disappointed by it, but I didn't hate it.
I think Ethan Hawke was incredible in it, and somehow they didn't even give him 10 minutes of screen time. I think that the movie started very well. I think the first act is incredibly well put together. It is effective in building tension. There are genuinely, especially for a family with kids, there's some genuinely like shocking and terrifying. Oh my God, yeah, my kid could just get plucked out of that suburban neighborhood like that. So that was good. And then the main point of tension comes to our main character in the story. And I'm not trying to spoil anything since it's literally still in theaters, but then I feel like all of the wind went out of the sails of that movie. And it was so early to have that get lost. And then the rest of it was just that same feeling of there's no wind in the sail. There's no wind. There's
all the way till the end, which was a very anticlimactic end. Very anticlimactic and predictable. I mean, you verbalized it better than I did, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I felt about it as well.
I did think it had a great score, and I think that if they had given us more insight into Ethan Hawke and his character, this is one of those rare instances that I think that we needed more story. I think nowadays we get bogged down with too much story sometimes, but he just wasn't scary enough.
I literally just said that to literally like a day or two ago. I was talking to my friend Shane about it, and we said the exact same thing. It would have been nice to have some backstory for I mean, sometimes a villain doesn't necessarily need a backstory, and they're just the villain, and that's their role in the film. But in this particular case, it would have been nice to have that character more fleshed out, or at least have more screen time, like you said.
Yeah, I didn't really need like a motivation. He could have just been a piece of shit, but I would have loved to have seen more time with him. And when you're giving time to somebody like Ethan Hawke, but that time is literally like 9 minutes, and 7 of those minutes is in at least a half face mask.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. I know. I was pretty disappointed by it. And I've been saying that since last year, and everybody didn't want to believe me.
I also think it's a hard thing because it's done by Joe Hill, and everybody's supposed to think that it's the scariest thing in the world. And
yeah, you're supposed to. And I also love Robert Cargill, and Scott Derrickson is all right, and I love Ethan Hawke. It's just, and like I already said, I love Sinister, so they're capable of making a great film as that team. But this one didn't do it for me.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, don't want more backstory, but more time to feel grossed out by him would have been nice.
Yeah.
Some more things that I watched recently that I will throw out there real quick. On my end, I finally saw Crazy Rich Asians, and holy crap, that is a really great modern rom-com. So
I thought that you were gonna say you just went to Vancouver and you just looked around.
Never been to Vancouver, although I wish I would. I finally saw X, and yeah, deserves almost all the praise that it got. Great movie.
Wait, you didn't see X when it came out?
No, sir.
I thought you did. Huh.
No.
Wait, I
couldn't
want to
get out.
know. I don't mean to veer you off that path, but what were the other two you saw? You said you went to the theater 3 times in the
I
last.
saw Thor: Love and Thunder.
Did you love it?
I think, well, and it's perfect because we are the 3 that had the big Marvel discussion on here and tiered everything up. For me, I'd probably put this about a B, high B.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say even a low B.
Maybe low B.
B minus.
To me, I think the last 12-ish minutes of the movie were great. The whole the fighting on this other planet that they did, and the cinematography during that was shockingly beautiful. And then to bring it all over to, when we were all thinking that Thor: Love and Thunder was going to be Thor with, obviously he's the Thunder, and then the love was going to be, hey, Natalie Portman's back and all that. But now we're leading into a possible story with, a parent and child. That was a nice change of pace, especially for somebody with 2 kids. However, I feel like they smelled the lightning in a bottle they got with Ragnarok and said, let's just amp that exact same lightning up to 11, and it didn't quite work for me. I think the goats were funny a couple times, and then Insufferable a lot more times than that.
It was funny like 2 times, and then the other 28 times.
I do want to highlight what John just said. I think that it is possibly the best villain that they've ever had in the Marvel universe.
And Christian Bale was the perfect pick for it. He knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely. However, when you have somebody called Gore the God Butcher, and you don't show him butchering any effing gods, we've got an issue. And again, I'm not saying that we need tons more story in these, but a 5-minute compilation of him just murdering people would have made this movie so much better.
Kind of like how Multiverse of Madness barely had any multiverse. It's like, what are you guys doing, Marvel? This phase has been really...
I won't say it's been crappy. I've liked everything still.
It's kind of like how Black Widow didn't have any black women whose husbands had died.
I love how Flip is silent until he thinks it's some silly joke.
That's why I'm here.
I thought that was a good joke.
I like it.
The last thing, which was probably my favorite theater experience all the last 2.5 years, other than Everything Everywhere All at Once, because obviously.
And the Bev.
Oh, touche. I finally got to witness in person in a theater the entire Grindhouse experience.
Oh, right. I did see that. Yeah, I saw you post about that.
Obviously, I've seen it a handful of times, so it couldn't, be this big shocking thing. But it is so much better on a big screen and with a group of people that get that humor and that style, and Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. Just flip on the toilet?
No.
So...
yes. So that was great. I wanted to throw out Heavy Trip from I think it's Music Box Films, the partner label. Such a goddamn great movie.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams. Watch that with my child who loves baseball, and that movie still rips. That movie is great.
Yeah, I like it, even though I'm not a big sports fan or sports movie.
Yeah, Kevin Costner is just the man. And then I'll say this one again as a finally. I finally got to see Summer of '84. And I think that was everything that the Black Phone wanted to be.
I was going to say that because when you were talking about it earlier and you were saying about the first act had really good setup, it felt very summer of '84-ish.
Yep.
And so I was vibing on it too at the beginning, and then it just went downhill.
And I do think on Summer of '84 the first act was a little drawn out. So maybe if the first act of the Black Phone was tacked onto the last two acts of Summer of '84, we'd have the perfect Summer of Black. Never mind.
Summer of Black. Summer of Black 84-year-old.
An 84-year-old black guy?
On the phone.
On the phone.
Hey, where you at?
Talking to Ethan Hawke.
Ethan!
On the terms of physical releases, anything that you've really dove into on the features that you want to really highlight for anybody right now? Flip?
I do have to say the Seventh Curse release, I'm still not done with it, but there's just so fucking much in that release. It's like overwhelming. I didn't know this. Same director as Ricky O, which would explain a lot. So, great film. Great release. I did miss Orbit's first batch, and I felt kind of bad and panicked a little bit. And then when they got Marshall Club in, they got more, and I was like, fuck yeah. So pick it up. Perfect. It's great.
I'll note 3 off the top of my head. There might be something I'm forgetting, but Everything Everywhere All at Once, just because I love that movie so much. I wish there was more bonus features on it, but there's enough to give you like some satisfaction on there.
For a studio release, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So that was fun diving into those because I love the movie so much. I've also been diving into the bonus features on the Get Back Blu-ray release, which also I know there's quite a few people that didn't like that.
Right.
They found it to be boring or whatever, but if you're as into music, it's not even necessarily about the Beatles particularly, who I do really like, but I'm not like a crazy obsessed fan, but it's also just kind of like seeing their process of coming up with music and things like that. And also there's some spice to the fact that this footage was like unearthed and it's like our first time seeing it in such great quality thanks to Peter Jackson. So some of the bonus features on that release chock full of stuff, which is great. And then also Ryan convinced me just on Sunday to buy the Olive Films, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
The Olive Films, out of print Olive Films release of Bound, which obviously is a fantastic film. So I wanted to rewatch it because it's been a while, which I hadn't done yet, but I started diving into the bonus features for that one, of which there are a decent amount, more than any other release of that film. So,
and it's one that gets overlooked a lot. Obviously, it's the Wachowskis, and people will
Bound's an incredible film.
Will only ever go to The Matrix, but Bound is something that, especially nowadays, like most people should see. It is a very relevant film. It is a movie something that you should seek out. And sadly, go ahead.
I was going to say, I would say besides Matrix, I think Bound and Street Racer are the only two worthwhile seeking after films that they've done.
I can't think of anything else offhand I would throw out there.
Well, a lot of people hated Cloud Atlas.
Right.
Oh, I guess Life of Pi is okay.
That's not them, is it? I thought that was
That was Ang Lee.
Oh. I'm way off.
No, I mean, Speed Racer also actually gets overlooked a lot.
When are we getting that on 4K?
Oh my god!
So
the HDR on that could be
that movie.
Awesome. They did a screening of that, a midnight screening at the New Beverly, like 2 months ago, I think. And
Ninja Assassin, but they just produced it.
What's his face why can't I think of his name? What's the main guy?
Rain. The Street Racer guy.
Yeah.
I can't think of who it was.
Anyways, he was there. I don't know why I can't think of. He's in one of my favorite movies of all time too, Into the Wild. But I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
I'm gonna look it up.
But I love Speed Racer too. But yeah, Bound's great. I'm looking forward to revisiting it because it's been several years. So I'm happy to have found
Emil Hirsch.
That's right. Yeah, it was on the tip of my tongue.
We're saying Street Racer, but it's Speed Racer.
It is Speed Racer.
We're absolutely.
Oh, that's funny.
Roll it back.
Dumb.
Did I say Streetler? Yeah, I'm happy to have gotten that Blu-ray thanks to Ryan's suggestion. For
Fanatical Dragon says they wrote Ninja Assassin as well.
I wrote and produced.
Did they? I don't know. I don't think they did.
Actually, I'm not seeing it under writing credits
Yeah,
for
it says
Lana
crew.
Wachowski.
What a loss.
Written by J. Michael Sterinsky, Matthew Sand. So no Wachowskis wrote. Ninja Assassin. It was just produced by them.
Oh shit, we gotta boot that guy.
No, we're not gonna boot
Dragon.
No way. Yeah, no way. Dragon.
I'm
awesome.
joking.
Joel Silver produced it.
Anyways, Bound is a really great. It's especially a really great debut film.
That's true.
We have hit an hour, and normally, oh wait, I never said mine. Let me throw back out there. I mentioned that Heavy Trip was great, but I want to throw out there that is one that should be bought primarily for the movie. It's really well done, but the extras are icing on the cake, hilarious. They have some members of the band that is over from I think they're from Finland, and they travel to Norway in the movie, but they come over and they film in Austin while they're coming to show the South by Southwest premiere of the film, and they just randomly film them in these awkward positions as their characters from the film, and it is so damn funny, beyond worth it to see these Finnish metalheads in Austin, Texas. Really great release.
I watched the movie and I have the Vinegar Syndrome release. I just didn't watch the special features.
Jeremy, is there any comedy specials out that are worthwhile?
I like Nikki Glazer's new special. I like her.
Did one come out?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like her a lot overall, though.
Did you watch Stavros's special on YouTube?
Yeah,
which one?
It's so good.
Stavros Halkias.
No, I haven't watched that.
He left Cumtown. I was really upset about that. He left Cumtown because of the success of his special. He's like, oh, I'm done.
That, and he's gotten like legit TikTok famous. He is everywhere from that.
What I think is going to be funny is if he ever gets mainstream, which he's borderline there, he's going to get canceled. Like, there is hundreds of hours of him doing racial slurs. So
I don't think he cares then.
I hope nobody looks back at these videos, Flip, when you get picked up.
One more thing I'll throw out about Stavros, the Inspector Ike release from Factory 25. I loved watching that movie. All of a sudden, Stavros comes out from the side, and he plays one of the characters in the play within the movie of Inspector Ike. That movie is so good.
He's so fat.
I got that one too, but I haven't watched it yet.
He's got literally like one line in it, but it is such a great movie.
Right. One of my favorite things is right when COVID happened, Cumtown was streaming live on YouTube, and they were using StreamYard, and Stavros put a hat on, and his hat just unbuttoned itself, and Nick goes, "What are you, too fat for hats now?"
Oh, that's pretty damn good. All right.
That'll remind me of the infamous line from Tommy Boy. Does this shirt make me look fat? No, your face does. Such a classic team, those two.
What's the funniest movie of all time?
Oh God.
I mean,
it's very subjective, obviously. Yeah, but what is your vote first, Flip?
I don't even know.
Do you have a couple that would be up for your consideration?
Probably Road Trip. I really like Road Trip.
I don't even think that's the funniest movie with the word trip in the title.
Coming to America.
Euro Trip is so much better than Road Trip.
Coming to America. Yeah, but Road Trip, I don't know. There's a scene with the bigger black woman, and it unlocked a lot.
Jeremy, you got a couple top picks?
Anchorman's always been really high up there for me.
Yeah.
It's so damn quotable. Another one I quote consistently is "I love you, man."
The Other Guys is pretty fucking funny. I quote that.
Such a great movie.
I also like
best be wearing Jimmy's.
the really slapstick kind of humor, like the Zucker brothers and such. So I'm obviously a big fan of like the Naked Gun franchise and Airplane. Kind of in that same vein is like Brain Donors. I'm not sure if you ever saw Brain Donors.
Brain Donors, no.
John Turturro's in it, and it's a Dennis Dugan film who went on to do like a lot of the Adam Sandler movies. It's a sleeper hit from the 90s, yeah. And it's basically like, what would the Marx Brothers be in modern times? And it's absolutely hilarious.
History of the World.
Well, Mel Brooks is great. I think my favorite from him is High Anxiety. But
really,
that's
a good pick. Is he still alive?
Walk Hard is Mel Brooks is alive. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, very high on the list.
You keep taking ones I was going to mention.
What I'll name like. Oh,
what's the basketball Will Ferrell movie?
Semi-Pro.
Yeah, Semi-Pro. That's a good one.
That is one of the only movies that I've turned off halfway through because I hated it.
What?
My God, Flippy. Armed and Dangerous. Oh, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is such a classic for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all of Steve Martin and John Candy for that matter. Anyways, those are just a few, old and new.
My answers, the ones that haven't been verbally said out loud, would have to be either Young Frankenstein.
That's a good one.
Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh yeah.
I was about to say that. I was actually going to say anything by David Wayne and Michael Showalter.
Yeah. They always hit hard for me.
Yeah, that and Stella. Well, Stella's not a movie, but that and They Came Together.
They Came Together is so fucking amazing.
There was just like a period where Will Ferrell was releasing like a movie a year,
and they were all crap.
No, they weren't. Anchorman, Talladega Nights. Okay, Talladega Nights.
Yeah, Anchorman was not part of that time period. You're thinking Blades of Glory, Semi-Pro, all the crap.
All those are funny. You're a buffoon.
They all had funny parts, but as an overall movie, they don't work too well.
Anchorman will always be his crowning achievement. That's the most quotable comedy, possibly.
The only other one that might come close for Will Ferrell for me is Step Brothers.
Yeah, Step Brothers.
Step Brothers is a classic.
See what I'm saying?
A Fish Called Wanda is so good.
Fish Called
Wanda. Great call there. Kevin Kline. Duck Soup, obviously. Animal House, classic. Bad News Bears is good. Lots of 80s Chevy stuff.
Little Porky's.
You know, Bad News Bears, the remake was not half bad because Billy Bob Thornton is great at that. He does a really good.
Yeah.
That was a good casting. I mean, it's not as good as the original, but it's not a bad remake in terms of.
Is there a way to go on Letterboxd and look up by genre? Like what the genre comedy was sorted by
TV.
Sorted by highest rating. Let's see what the highest rated. Okay, I've never even heard of this. A Dog's Will?
That's a comedy?
I guess.
The highest rated comedy on Letterboxd?
Yeah, Dog's Will. I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you, Philip.
Yeah, some of these aren't comedies, though.
You know what else? I'm going to give a little love to Horrible Bosses.
That's good.
I do not like that movie.
I think the three of those three guys together really made a good team, and that's what made that movie.
Charlie Day does a lot of great work.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go.
Pop Star.
All right.
I'm surprised here.
Pop Star's amazing. That's right.
Pop Star and Hot Rod.
Hot Rod is.
I'm talking about the Lonely Island gang. Hot Rod cracks me up. I love that movie.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching this week. Discovering Cinema will be back in 2 weeks, which will be the first Tuesday in August, which means my sister will be here, who has been in the chat a little bit. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out, Jeremy. Feel better, Flip?
My pleasure. It was great to see you. Great to not see Flip, and great to be here.